Good evening to all, and in this session we are going to learn Windows Server 2022, that is session 2. And here I am going to discuss workgroup and domain. What is different between workgroup and domain? Today I was supposed to explain you about Active Directory. I was about to start Active Directory session, but before starting Active Directory, you should have knowledge of networking model. Okay, and then you'll get clear idea about the networking concept in further what is different between domain environment and local environment like work group. So especially we are talking about differences between work group and domain, and this is one of very popular questions also for any interview. You have already faced, I think so, right? So first I am going to start the session. I'll continue the session. This is recording session, and after finishing this recording session, then will allow you to discuss, right, all the stuff, questions, and whatever you have doubt. So let's start. What is work group? First, work group and domain. If you talk work group and domain, so I can make a better I'll make the scenario in topology here. Okay, so I'll make two topology actually. Okay, so here I'll cross the boundary here, and this side I'll make a work group network, and one side will be domain network. So here will be work group, and here will be domain environment. Okay, so before starting I will make a topology, and according to the topology I would explain you will easily understand. So topology, in case of work group, we should have a network device, that is switch. So I'll take a normal switch here, and by using this switch I'll connect the machines PC. So here I'll connect a couple of PC, and there is no printer actually. This is IP phone, and this is not required actually. I will delete it. Okay, and here, okay, manually I'll create. Let me create manually. Okay, first let it. Here I'll connect by this fast Ethernet. 24 port switch, and see. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll make a printer here. There is a printer. This is a printer connected with this PC. Okay, this is the scenario for work group. Okay, let me create first this domain environment as well, then we'll start the discussion about work group and domain. We'll compare. Okay, so what about domain topology? I'll make domain topology. So for that yeah, same like we'll take a switch and here we'll take a server and then okay, like this. We'll connect by Ethernet, so we'll connect to the server and by this switch to these all devices, these all PCs. This is fast Ethernet port, so I am using this Cisco packet tracer because here you can communicate. I'm not communicating, just want to explain you. Okay, you'll get clear concept here, and in this case if you have such printer, no, okay, no problem. Here also I'll draw a printer like this here. Okay, so these two topology you can see, and if you compare both workgroup and domain, you will get idea. Here see, if you talk about workgroup network, you can see there is a network and all the PC connected with network, printer also connected with any PC. You can connect any PC, like I have connected PC1, you can connect PC2, PC3, any PC. Okay, in this types of network, what you can do, you can share the printer and you can print from any computer. There is no security boundary, right? There is no restriction. And also in this types of network, each and every computer have own user and password, right? Means PC1 having on user and password, PC2 on user and password, PC3 on user and password, like admin and password. Okay, so there is no security boundary in these types of network. Okay, data can be shared from anywhere, data can be accessed from anywhere, right? Any resources can be shared or can be accessed from anywhere. So you can define in these types of network logically grouping all the computers in decentralized network is called workgroup. Decentralized, a word you should not forget actually. So only one common difference between workgroup and domain network. Workgroup is called decentralized network and domain is called centralized network. Why? Because in these types of network, there is a centralized server. So these all client machine will be controlled by this server. So therefore, these types of network also called client server architecture. Okay, so you can say domain or client server architecture. Client and server, right? Architect. And these types of network is called peer-to-peer network. Okay, so somebody can ask you what is the difference between workgroup and domains. Someone can ask you what is the difference between peer-to-peer network and client server network, right? And this is networking model actually. You can go anywhere, right? Anywhere, any country, any technology, if you go in IT department, you will have only two types network, either workgroup network or domain network, either peer-to-peer network or client server network, right? So normally if you talk about small companies like cyber cafe or college school, so we are using workgroup network. Like personal area network we are using, you can make your personal network at your house, right? You have a couple of device like sound, Bluetooth sound and laptop, mobile, right? So these all devices you can connect in a local area network, like that is personal area network, personal network. So that is also kinds of work group network. Why? Because there is no security boundary, there is no centralized server. But here you can see in domain network there is a centralized server. So server will control the all users. Why? How is possible this? Because in server here this PC1, PC2, PC3, PC4, they don't have on user and password. Like once you develop the server, here you will be allowed to create user and password for different client machine, right? These all client machines, when you switch on the PC1, it will ask user ID and password. Where you will get user and password? Because it will ask user ID and password, you don't know, because user ID and password is stored in server, right? So each and every computer's user ID and password is stored in server. So when you log in, server will provide user ID and password. Therefore these all computer will be controlled and will be managed by the server. All the services control will be managed by server. Even printer also will be managed by server. The server will allow the specific machine to print, only the machine can print, otherwise cannot print, user cannot print. I'm not talking about machine, I can say about the user, because the advantage of these types of network means client server network, user, whatever user created in server, that user can be log in different machines. Like example, here in the server I have created Ramesh, a user is Ramesh. So Ramesh today can log in PC1, tomorrow Ramesh can log in PC2, right? Day after tomorrow Ramesh can log in PC3. Means Active Directory user means server user can log in any client machine, and whatever task will be done by the particular user, that user profile will be created also in server. That can be in server storage, or that can be if you have third party storage, so that will be stored over there, right? So I hope you got idea about what is difference between work group and domain network. So let me brief again one by one differences. First difference, logically grouping all the computers in decentralized network, each and every machines will have on user and password, is called work group network. There is no security boundary, even printer can be shared, can be connected, any computer can be shared and can be printed by any computers in on premises in the particular network, right? If you talk about domain, this is called client and server architect. Why? Because there is a centralized server, and here all the computer will not have login event itself, right? Because whenever it log in, it will ask user ID and password in this type network, and user ID and password will be provided by only server, right? So you can say logically grouping all the computers in these types of network will be controlled by centralized server. Therefore we called domain is centralized network, and workgroup is decentralized network. Here workgroup, each and every computer will have own user and password, but here each and every computer do not have right to log in itself. Whenever it log in, it will ask user and user ID and password that is stored in server database, right? So advantage of this client server architecture, this is high level security you can implement because each and every user is stored in the central server. So today suppose one user login PC1, tomorrow can be login PC4, right? So that is secure. And printer, if you don't want to give permission to all users to print the document, so server can deploy the policy for a specific user and the particular user can log in any computer, can be print over there, right? So this is called domain environment. So question here, how to make, and one last point here, in case of workgroup network, you can install any operating system, any window operating system for any machine like Windows 7, Windows 10, 2008, right, Windows 11, no problem. But in this types of network, means domain network, this server machine, you have to install only server operating system like Windows Server 2003, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2019 and 2022 as well, right? Any server you can install, then only it will become domain controller and then only it will become domain environment, right? And this client PC can be installed, any window operating system will behave as a client, right? So it's not fixed Windows 7, Windows 10, but the credential is if you have installed server operating system 64-bit, the client also should be 64-bit, right? So we should not discuss more about bit because nowadays any server you will get license only 64-bit. Also client also Windows 8, Windows 10 onwards, Windows 64-bit only, right? So no need to discuss about. So 3 or 4 point I have explained about this. I hope you got understand the major differences between workgroup network and domain. And if you understand this concept, then further server environment will be easy for you to understand, right? Because and now what we are going to continue next session onwards, we are going to configure the server. How to configure? First I have explained you how to install the server operating system last session, right? And next session will be how to install Active Directory and how to make a domain controller for any server, right? Server machine doesn't matter until you install server operating system and configure Active Directory domain controller. It will not behave as a server. It will behave just like a client machine. Like if you got 5 lakh rupees expensive server machine and you have installed Windows 10, so will it work as a server? No, not at all. It will behave as a client machine. So we have to understand what is different between server operating system and client operating system. Server operating system has ability to install the Active Directory, will support the services for Active Directory and all the roles, and client operating system will not have right to install the Active Directory like Windows 10, Windows 11 or Windows 7, any client operating system. On client operating system platform we cannot install Active Directory. In only Active Directory supports server operating system. And now question is, what is Active Directory? Active Directory is a centralized database. What I told you here, just I have explained, each and every client machine users will be stored, users and password will be stored in server. In server where it will be stored? So it will store in Active Directory database, right? So when you install Active Directory, one centralized database will be created inside the server, and where we are going to create the user and groups and all the Active Directory objects related information. So don't worry guys, in coming session we are going to discuss about how to install Active Directory, what is Active Directory, and domain controller, different domain controller like additional domain controller, child domain controller, read-only domain controller. Each and every session one by one will be discussing about. Okay, so in this session that's all. Recording session I am going to stop, and whatever doubt you have, whatever question you have, right, and that we are going to discuss. And after finishing the session, please drop mail. Okay, drop mail for your HR feedback, because I got mail day before yesterday. You have not mail, and they didn't know whether you are satisfied or not. If you have any doubt, any problem, you can discuss direct. Therefore I have given you opportunity to WhatsApp me, right? You can WhatsApp or you can mail me. So feedback you don't have to give me, you have to give your HR. So guys, today that's all for this recording session. What is different between work group and domain?